We are furries, and as furries, we have a lot to do with our fursonas. Most furries have them, and those who do truly love their fursonas. We all love our fursonas. But why? Surely there's some underlying reason why we're so into these animal personas. Well, I've been thinking about it for a while, and I finally have an answer. And it was Majira and his new video that helped me out. Hello everybody, my name is Ep.2 and welcome to the second episode of Let's Talk Furry. Today I'm going to be talking about fursonas and personalities. Now this idea has stemmed from a very important event, and I want that event to be the core of this video. Literally a few hours before I started writing this, Majira, you might know him, uploaded a video titled My New Wolf Fursona, and after watching it, I started to realize our fursonas from a different perspective, and I thought there would be something really important to talk about, both for furries and non-furries. In fact, I scrapped my old video plan to talk about this. Alright, to sum up Majira's video really simply, he says that he'll be making a new fursona, but he still will be keeping his old one. That's basically what the video is all about. So, how did this change your mind on fursonas? Well, there are some really key points. When we hear them, bear in mind that he is speaking from his personal perspective, and he's referring to Majira as a character.
I've been making YouTube videos as Majira for like 6 years now, and as time goes on, it becomes more and more of a struggle to continue to relate to him. A lot of that, I believe, is I, as a person, have changed a lot in the last 6 years, but Majira doesn't always feel like he's changing with me. And it's kind of gotten to the point where I feel like I'm playing a character in a TV show rather than my own fursona.
We all know fursonas are super special, but hearing this made me think so much more. And from this, I have a few points to cover. God, this feels like an English essay. I'm trying really hard not to do that. The first point is that fursonas are characters you can relate and connect with. I know that this is implied by Majira saying he's struggling to relate to his fursona, but even from personal experience, I think that this statement is very true. And not only through my personal experience. If you do have a fursona, have a think for a second and ask, do you connect with your fursona? Well, the answer is probably yes. A fursona is someone who we can see ourselves being, perhaps in another dimension, or as a character we aspire to be. Now here's where people assume having a fursona is exactly like cosplaying, which I disagree with, and I'll show why in a bit. The second point is very important, and it's that fursonas have their own personalities. If you made a fursona, then well, you likely gave it a few personal traits, unless you wanted it to be completely mindless or a carbon copy of you. And I think that the fact that your fursona can have a different personality from you is what makes our fursona so special. Take Dylan for an example. He has a few of my traits and a few of his own, and I love him because of this. It gives me the opportunity to take on a new personality when I'm playing as Dylan, and the quote agrees too.
I, as a person, have changed a lot in the last 6 years, but Majira doesn't always feel like he's changing with me.
This is exactly a separate personality. However, in Majira's case, it does make things a bit more difficult, but thankfully he does find a way around it, which is his second fursona. Okay, my third point is likely why fursonas are the absolute best thing to exist. Hear me out. Fursonas are designed by us. What does that mean? Well, it means that we have the control over what we want our fursonas to be. Well, what about Majira right now? Alright, well, maybe this seems a bit untrue from what we have, but we also hear this.
If I were to make a fursona right now, in 2020, at age 24, for the first time, what would I want? And my brain just kept going back to one specific thing. A dark-colored wolf with icy blue eyes.
And this is it. Majira takes to his desires with a new fursona, and it's everything he ever wanted for one. Fursonas are your pursuit of your own character. It doesn't matter what the desires of your mind are. Maybe you want to be tall, or maybe you want blue eyes. Maybe you even want to be not cute or something. I mean, who would truly want that? A fursona is your window to these ideas. And remember too that a fursona usually isn't a character to make and throw aside. A fursona is an identity to you and will stay by your side as long as you want to keep that fursona. Remember earlier when I said that playing as a fursona is very different to cosplaying? Well, the distinction is here. If I cosplay a character, let's say maybe Darth Vader, I would embrace the character of Darth Vader and dress up like him, and, well, portray his character. But if I want to express an emotion that he might despise, or maybe I want him to have gone to this place and had this experience, well, that wouldn't be in my control. Darth Vader is Darth Vader, and it's the movie director who decides what he has done and what he will do. In contrast, when I play as Dylan, I feel like I'm in complete control of my character, my personality. The limits of what I can feel and do lie in my imagination. Now let's return to Majira.
And it's kind of gotten to the point where I feel like I'm playing a character in a TV show rather than my own Fursona.
Now this sounds an awful lot like Darth Vader compared to Dylan, doesn't it? The personality of Darth Vader is out of my control because there's someone else controlling who he is. And in Majira's case, it wouldn't be wrong to say the same kinda applies. Instead of a film director though, it's the public who sets a personality for his Fursona, which kinda comes from his being popular as Majira. Now I hold absolutely nothing against Majira for being so well known. In fact, I support it. But it really goes to show how influential an audience can be. It also really furthers the point that Fursonas are just another level of personality. So what do we take away from this episode? Fursonas are really important. To someone outside the fandom, a Fursona sounds like just an animal, you know?
You're a furry. I bet all you want to do is be a wolf or something like that. Just do degenerate stuff.
But no, a Fursona is a character not necessarily to try to be, but to relate to. Also, if you hate your personality, then getting a Fursona helps as it gives you a personality to see yourself with, and possibly aspire to have, and you are in control. If being a furry is an identity, then having a Fursona is your personality. Look at that, we made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for sticking around, and I do apologize if this video is a bit more rough than my normal upload. I had to go on a camp and I had to rush things before making this upload, so I just had kinda less time for the editing and stuff like that. So I really hope you enjoyed the rough work I've been able to pull together, and I hope you learned something about the furry fandom.